Now in this video, I need to discuss some things that need to be said, and I hope that if you hear something that you don't like, that you take a deep breath and you work to hear the message that's being said, and don't take it personally, because I'm not addressing any of you by name. I'm addressing a way of thinking. Now you may find that that way of thinking may be similar to your way of thinking, but I'm not attacking you personally. I'm not attacking anything. I am being critical of a way of thinking that I believe inhibits greater consciousness. And I believe that most of the people, I would like to believe that most of the people, but there is a good chunk of people that watch my YouTube channel that are on a path to have a more direct connection with God, to understand why things are the way that they are, to understand the powers that are far beyond what we believe to be the New World Order. There are quite a few people that watch my channel that want to understand the spiritual nature of things. Then there are people that have found me because they've seen me bullhorning. They've seen me on some show talking about something, dealing with some false flag event, or they've seen my own show years ago where I'm discussing Big Brother, cameras, things that are not really cool, but we need to shed light on those things. And then we have people that are kind of in the middle. They're into wanting to know more about a spiritual understanding of what's going on. They also want to know about what's going on physically. To me, that's a very well-balanced place to be, to where you can handle the light and you can handle the negativity. And you're learning from both of it. You understand the yin-yang concept of all things. You understand that the world is not just all pure light. There's some darkness in it. So it's very good to be balanced and understand that there is good and bad to this world, and we have choices to make, etc., etc., fill in the blank. And there is a huge chunk of people that watch this channel that do not believe in spirit, that do not believe in possibility, that do not believe that they can be happy and live off the grid, that, they would die or something like that if they were to exit a dense population center. And I appreciate those comments that have come in over the last year, because it's reminded me where a good chunk of my YouTube audience is up here. And again, I'm not attacking any particular person, but a way of thinking. I think about all those comments that have come in. Alex, you look ugly. Your hair is too long. Your sideburns are too long. You're unattractive. And that helps me reflect as well. Because I'm in a country that has been ruled by a shadow government for some time. That on September 11th, 2001, the people of this country were told that the people of Afghanistan, where my father is from, not my mother, but my father, so I'm half from the east, half from the west. Yin yang, half from the east, half from the west, balance. I've met a lot of people from the east and the west that are very, very introspective and very mystical in some way, shape, or form. Not all, however. People in this country have been told that those people over there are cavemen, cave women, barbarians, right? They don't like the United States, and a lot of the callousness that I've seen from people that don't care about the millions dead in Afghanistan, in Iraq, it isn't anything short of racism when you're committing genocide against an entire group of people based on their bloodline, based on where they're from, based on what they look like. So it makes no logical sense for someone like me to conform my physical appearance to people that are in a country that is responsible for the deaths of millions of people in that particular region of the country where my father comes from. And yet, I believe it's very unlikely that the people that make these comments towards me ever think about that or ever have any guilt, because of course they don't think that they're responsible for any of this. They claim that they're against this system. They claim they're against racism. They claim they're against the New World Order and what it's doing. But when you see their thinking process, their judgment, people have made fun of me for years because I have a hairy chest. It's in my genetics. Do you understand? Should I be ashamed of something that is in my genetics? Of course not. But I've noticed There are huge chunks of Caucasians, white people in this country that think they're awake, that almost seem to have some sort of judgmental racial tone to them when they judge other people, especially myself, based on how I look. That, and I thank you, is a reminder of how dark and twisted people in the society happen to be. And I'm bringing these things up for people to reflect and meditate upon these things, because there is a fallacy that a lot of people believe in, that we've reached this pinnacle point to where we are full on consciousness. We see the light. No, you see the fluoride. You see the depleted uranium. Okay, you're seeing the chemical weapons. You're not seeing the true light. Some people are not seeing the true light when they think they're seeing the true light. Mental illness comes about from our environment as well as our thoughts. And when you're not strong spiritually, which a lot of people are not, they may think they are, but when you sacrifice, when you live without less, when you accept the silence, things like that I talked about in the other video, when I talk about the spiritual benefits of living in the desert. When you just throw all that aside and you're just focused on what's negative and living in the city and eating pizza and going to the bar and activating your sensations so you can feel the pleasure centers just activate like an erupting volcano, you're not spiritual. You've confused the pleasures of the flesh with a spiritual experience, because you're feeling good. You're feeling that orgasm. You're feeling that chocolate chip cookie. You're feeling that Big Mac. You're like, yes, we have made it. No, you haven't made it. If you're judging other people based on what they look like, you do not have love in your heart. You have hatred. If you're judging people because they look different, you're racist without knowing it. You know, hair on the chest, sideburns on the face. You notice I don't have a beard. You think that I would want to have a beard in today's day and age and, you know, go all the way looking like someone from another country. Look, I'm someone that's from this planet, but at times I don't identify with the human beings that are running around fucking mentally ill on this planet. What I've learned throughout my whole life, especially the last year, is that we can be free from the cage if we want to. We can build community. We can live off stored food for weeks at a time without going to the grocery store. We can have enough water. We can find peace in the silence. We can, in a way, I smelled cleaner. Yes, I can't smell myself. Of course, others can smell us sometimes better than we can smell ourselves. When I was in the desert, I always felt dirty, funky, dirty in the city. There's something about the city that brings out my dirt and funk. In the desert, there was this beautiful cleansing feeling when my feet were barefoot and I was walking around the desert. Of course, there are areas where I cleaned around the yurt of cactus so I can walk barefoot, so I can meditate and sit on the stand, whether it was hot or whether it was cold. And for some of you that are fans of Jordan Maxwell's work, for years he's talked about the ancients and sun worship, you know, because at that time when the sun went down, it became dark and there were wild animals at night and things were not as safe. And when the sun came up, it was warm again. It wasn't as cold. You could see, as humans, we don't have full-on night vision. We can develop it if we work at it, but when we're exposed to light, ambient light, you know, we don't have the same night vision as a cat, as a dog, as other forms as other animals, other forms of wildlife. So we have this deep, profound connection, as Jordan Maxwell's talked about, with the sun. You know, I've listened to those quotes by him and a few others about life in the desert so many times while out in the desert, and I felt it. When it was cold last winter, I just wait, okay, here it comes, okay, oh, boom, it is sunrise. And I would go outside and just bask in the sun, take off my shirt, just get blasted from that pure golden light. And I would enjoy that, and then it's like, ooh, here comes 5 o'clock, it's going down. It's time to get inside. It's time to get close to God again. Get those 3 broken. zippers broken, 3 broken sleeping bags. None of them zero, -0, or -10, -20 degree sleeping bags. Just cheap sleeping bags on a broken fold-out couch, mind you. Excuse me. With limited firewood. Well, as soon as the summer came, as soon as that sun came up, because the nights were warm, instead of being, yes, the sun's coming up, it's like, whoa, the sun's coming up, it's gonna get hot. And so that yurt was great because I had it ventilated. I had air coming in 4 directions. There are these things you could open up and the air would come through. And in a way, that's how I stayed cool, by getting out of the sun and being exposed to wind passing by my body. So the sun and its effect on our consciousness, our life, our feelings is huge. I've talked about that a lot. But just on a very simple way. When you go out in the middle of the desert, you get closer to that sun. So back to people that are stuck in victim consciousness. Some of them may never have allowed themselves to become silent for weeks to months on end, because the thoughts that come up are so aggressive, so out of balance, that they can't handle it. And sometimes they beat themselves up. So people constantly are trying to hear stimuli, music, talk radio, watch movies, go on dates, and even the realm of partnership, sexuality. It's like hopping from cock to cock to cock to cock, and and the men, going from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman, as we hop from cock to cock to cock to cock, as we go from woman to woman to woman. It's like in relationships, there is very rarely, although it does happen, it's beautiful when it does, a level of peace between a man and a woman, to where they can just be in each other's energy for a prolonged period of time, and be in the silence, and sometimes not have to talk to each other, but to have that unspoken communication. I'll never forget an old girlfriend of mine. When we had those romantic moments, we would put our third eyes together, and there was something very real there. Our connection came from that unspoken connection when we put our foreheads together. There's nothing more romantic than that feeling that I had with her. And I still think about you if you ever watch these channels or videos. And things like that remind you of the true beauty in this world. The true beauty of a woman. We forget these things when we are not spiritually fit, and we do not take the time to appreciate the simple things in life, be it the sun, be it making food over fire. For months, I cooked over fire. Seriously. I ran out of propane. My propane stove broke. I'm surrounded by sagebrush, a free, available, natural resource in the middle of the desert that scares so many people. Yet you can't find that in your backyard, in the city, sagebrush growing everywhere. No, you got to go through the garbage can. No, you got to go over here. You got to go in this box. I would just pull it up, put it in my hibachi grill. A little lighter fluid would be cool. Take my flour, take my water, make my bread patty, put on my stainless steel pan, which I made sure I bought before I came to the desert, and I put it on there, and I rotate it as it goes over the fire, and I turn it, and I turn it. Hopefully I put some salt and some maybe some yeast and some garlic powder in there, and maybe a little butter over it. And as I ate that bread, this ancient food that my ancestors ate over fires in Afghanistan, in a very similar terrain to Colorado. Very few of my YouTube viewers seem to know that I am of a genetics that has come from the desert on my father's side. But of course, you guys just see what you want to see and place your judgment. Some of you, not all. I am so filled right here from the experience that I've had. I may go back, I may go forward, but I had an experience that made me stronger. And I'm telling you, if you want to evolve, you have to be honest with yourself about your own victim consciousness, how you judge others, whatever racist bones may be in you, your level of hatred, your level of fear, your level of self-hatred, your level of, you're feel so bad about yourself that you've got to attack others through a comment. Just work to the best of your ability to become a more conscious being. because ultimately you are alive to evolve beyond this particular realm. And so I would say that we all have some work to do.